Okay, I'm gonna play some h4 or h5. Let's see what happens. So it looks like I'll be playing h5 against d4. I remember I had a discussion years ago with John Bartholomew. We were discussing the merits of 1h5 because I played it against him actually in a simul for fun, because it was a master, me playing him in a simul. And we came to the conclusion that h5 makes more sense against what was it? We came to the conclusion h5 actually makes more sense against e4 than it does against d4. So that was one of the conclusions that we came to, just kind of discussing the positional merits of everything going on. Because with d4, they can play like d4 and then c4 and then e4, and they can make this move look very, very awkward indeed. Because now I'm playing a King's Indian defense with h5 thrown in, and it's a bad move. This is a terrible setup. I mean, to be totally honest, like right here, I am very much on a razor's edge here of very close to losing. Like actually, if knight b5, like interestingly enough, I have to make some sort of retreating move. Like I have to play like either bishop f8 or knight b8 to defend the d6 pawn. So that's why I'm throwing in a6 now, and a lot of what I'm going to be doing for the next couple moves is just like mostly, I would say, like repair work almost. So I'm going to try to make my h5 look useful in the King's Indian by playing like a unique kind of strategy. Like I'm going to try to play knight f6, knight h5, and then knight f4. Oh, definitely I'll get rid of my dark square bishop, for sure. If I can do that, that'd be good, because all my pawns are currently locked on dark squares. And that f4 square is now glaring. So that was very, very helpful. And I haven't played this f-pawn yet, and I haven't castled yet. So like, a lot of times, like in chess, like the things you haven't done yet are just as important as the things that you've done. A lot of people like to focus on what they've accomplished in their opening, but people don't focus enough on the things that they haven't done yet. The weaknesses they haven't made. This is going downhill for him. This could get really bad. I mean, bishop g4 looks good. I mean, this knight is very strong. This knight is extremely strong. This bishop is very weak. The only thing he's got going for him is this open file. If he plays something like check, I'm going to shuffle my king pretty safely to the g7 square. And more importantly, like black doesn't have a single bad piece here. I have no bad pieces at all. So this is ugly for him. Like it's borderline. We'll get to the point here where it's borderline not even savable anymore. So now queen f6. It was a little debatable, like if I should just throw in king g7 just for safety, but the king is very, very safe. Yeah, this is over. I mean, just for those of you that just want to see, I'm coming in with everything now. And this is going to be game over. I'm going to threaten the queen, but I'm also going to be threatening mate in 2. So this is going to be the end for him. He just got some very, very bad pieces kind of early. Like he was actually, like, just keep in mind, like White was actually much, much better in the opening phase of the game. He really started going wrong with bishop g5. And yeah, I mean, he has to actually just play queen d2 just to survive a few more moves, so that he can, at the very least, prevent the immediate queen g5, queen g2, which will be mate. But I don't know how much it really, really helps him, because he's still essentially dead. So that was a good move, but I mean, I have the rook coming in as well, so. And I mean, it's a little debatable how I should continue here. He does have rook g1 coming. I am just up a clean pawn here, though. So the worst case scenario, I just kind of remain up a pawn. I really want to like end the game, but I don't think I can, so I'm just going to have to find some sort of move that just continues my advantage. I think I'm going to play rook g5 anyway, just to eliminate his rook as soon as it lands there. And then I'm just going to play king g7, and then just bring the other rook up. This is reasonable on his part. Just try to dump the pieces, but keep in mind I'm up a clean pawn here, so these pieces come off the board. This can really only favor me. We're gonna get him down to the point where all he's got left is just kind of bad pieces. Oh, he gives me a pawn here. This is what happens when people are significantly worse, though. They start blundering. They start making things worse because they're trying to improve. But it's getting worse and worse. I have a dozen ways to win from here. Like knight d2 would be a pretty easy win. queen takes knight is going to be probably the easiest win. And it looks like he just decided to give up, which is reasonable. He shouldn't continue to play from here. His position is totally hopeless. But I am going to end this video by going over kind of what he could have done differently here. Because like in the opening, again, like he found really the best way to play against h5, which is push the d-pawn, the c-pawn, and the h-pawn. So like if you look at the assessment here, like when he pushed the d-pawn, the c-pawn, and the e-pawn, you can already see that this is like plus 1.3. So like where did it go downhill? It's going to be going downhill kind of down the road here. So everything is fine. Like this is a great line to play against this. And then d5, I play c5. And again, like knight b5, I pointed out, like this is not terrible. Like if knight b5, I have to undevelop. So I have to either play bishop f8 or knight b8. So like the computer prefers bishop f8, and so do I, because at least I have some chance of redeploying this bishop later and maybe trying to dump it. But like as you can see, like the computer just kind of wants to make all my pieces kind of ugly. And then I just have to kick this knight out, and then I have to kind of play chess from here, and all I've made are pawn moves. So like that's really like one of the harder moves to face, but at least black gets to keep the position closed. So the main thing is, like, as long as I keep the position closed, everything is fine. But when he doesn't do that, that helps me out a little bit, because now I can play a6 and prevent it. And then he plays castles, and then I try to pretend like this is useful, because like now my intention is here and here. Now this is interesting that the computer gives bishop g5 when I honestly thought this was a mistake. But okay, maybe it's the computer's follow-up, because I play bishop f6, and of course the computer wanted to play bishop g5 and then retreat. It wanted to bring the bishop back to d2. Now, I'm just guessing here, but watch the assessment drop when he takes my bishop. See how huge that is? The position, again, goes from major advantage white to complete equality with just that move. And it's just because you really can't afford to make these major positional errors in any position, you know, no matter what your opponent's opening is. You know, if it's h5, h4, b4, it doesn't matter. This is just a major positional error. Just understanding middle games in chess is just really, really important, and it transcends, you know, openings. It's regardless of the opening. You need to understand middle game errors. Giving up your good bishop, you know, these pawns are all in light squares, for black's bad bishop is bad. You know, it's just bad. Like, I haven't played f5 yet, so the pawn structure hasn't changed. So as long as I don't play f5, this pawn structure is essentially static and stable, and this was very, very helpful. So here I've already equalized with, you know, knight f6. You know, the fact that I have better pieces than white is compensated for by the fact that white has a little bit more space. But then things got significantly worse pretty quickly as soon as he played this b captures c5, and then my knight planted itself on this beautiful square. And then as soon as this knight plants itself on that square, now this is advantage black, and it's very, very clearly advantage black. So now bishop c2, and now bishop g4, and bishop a4, king f8. You can see this is already +4, +5. Like black should be completely winning here. Bishop c2. Oh, and the computer just wants to play knight g2. I played maybe slightly less precise. I played queen f6, maybe the more human approach. h3, and then the computer likes my move, and it just thinks, yeah, this is completely winning. Like, there's nothing here. Like, queen d2, and I think, okay, it preferred, like, rook c8 maybe to my move, rook h5, but the assessment drop isn't significant. It just thinks black is winning in all lines in pretty much in all cases. So that was where white made his error. It was, you know, giving up that dark squared bishop. The move bishop g5 wasn't in itself a bad move, but exchanging for my dark squared bishop was. And as soon as he did that, he lost equality. And then as soon as he exchanged on c5 and gave me two really good knights with a knight on c5 and a knight on f4, then, you know, his position was objectively lost. So just try not to make positional mistakes, you know, when you're playing against a move like h5. You know, good pieces and bad pieces still matter. So anyways, I hope you found this video helpful. Hope you learned something new about chess. Hope you can use these ideas in your own games, especially if you're going to play h4, h5. Thank you for watching.